Trevor Knight, Hendon Hooker, Bryce Young. Like, what was your impressions of these two? I thought we learned a lot from both tonight.
Let me start here on a macro level. I just want to tip the cap and kind of extend what you guys were saying about Tennessee. This was a storybook, a children's story, whatever you want to call it, all the way scripted out. Have a great start at Tennessee. College game days coming to town. You're undefeated. Everybody's picking you to win
Yep.
against a
Yep.
team that has been the perennial powerhouse. But so often you're sitting there drawing the pictures and getting ready to publish this book, and the top dog comes in and ruins those dreams. And to have
Mm.
all of that build up and to still
Hmm.
go out there and get it done and close the book and
Hmm.
publish this thing, I thought was the biggest takeaway with what Tennessee did, and tip of the cap to those guys. Now, as far as the quarterbacks go, I was sitting here watching this game with no allegiance to either school, just giddy watching these guys play
Yep.
football. And I want to start with Bryce Young. Bryce Young is coming off of an injury, but I can say this: he did that will not be an excuse for Tennessee or for Bama saying, "Oh,
Right.
well, Bryce Young was hurt. If this, if that." That dude came out and played some of his best football that I've ever seen. He was
Yep.
making all the throws. He was out there being the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. And him against Hendon Hooker, I mean, that was two guys saying, "Hey, look, I'll see you in New York at the end of the year," going back and forth. And it was almost this feeling like, all right, whoever gets the ball last is going to win this game. And Hendon Hooker going through the transfer portal or however he got to Tennessee, stepping up against George the Roman Army and the previous year's Heisman Trophy winner and standing toe to toe and getting the win. That dude deserves, regardless of what goes on the rest of the season, that dude deserves a ticket to New York based off of his play tonight. I thought it was unbelievable.
Great point. Uh, in from our producer, Dagan Hughes, Alabama broke its own historic record, 17 penalties tonight. And that's not just under the Coach Saban Alabama Tide. That's all time, 17 penalties for 130 yards. But they yet still find themselves tied up, tie ball game going down the back stretch in the fourth quarter if they had climbed it from behind 28-10. Fellas, I was so impressed. First of all, Hendon Hooker, like, guys are big, but you're big time on stages like this tonight. Like, you're big, don't doubt. We see it. But if Tennessee would have lost, fans, they're not throwing stuff on the field. We lost to the Roman Army. We'll get them next time. We still get a New Year's Day bowl. But to win, to take that momentum and knock out a giant when they're also hot, no. That I thought that was huge. Hendon Hooker was huge. His wide receiver, I don't have his name, 5 touchdowns on 6 grabs. That's some Travis Kelce type stat line right there. But Hendon Hooker was big, but just equal, as you both said it, Bryce Young. And it wasn't just an injury, it's on your throwing shoulder. It's
And
on
that's
your throwing shoulder.
George, that's
And
the one
Hack,
thing too. I don't mean to cut you off. Here's the
no,
one
no,
thing too,
go.
though, is I said this too Thursday. Like, if I going into this game, the way this Alabama team was shaped up, like the way the defense was playing, all this stuff, like, to me, if I'm Tennessee and I have the high powered offense, like, I'm making Bryce Young beat me. I'm taking
Yep.
Jahmyr Gibbs out of the game. I'm forcing Bryce Young to beat me, and he exceeded expectations and then some.
Yep. And
But
he met it.
but the thing is, the crazy thing is we sit here and acknowledge that people are going to overlook that, but he
Yeah.
played phenomenal. He played above
Yep.
and beyond what you could have ever asked him to play. And
Yep.
that shows you how much Hendon Hooker and that offense at Tennessee actually showed up and met the challenge as well. Because
Correct.
if you're going to say, yo, Bryce Young, you got to beat me, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, you got to beat me, you got to show up as well, and you got to play out of your
Correct.
mind and into your realm of thought processes and things like that. And I think Tennessee did that as well, and ultimately it worked out that way, and it was great for college football because we saw just a duel for the ages. And that's
Listen, I want to chime in here as well. I want to give a tip of the cap to Bryce Young again. Very similar to the national championship game when we were all together in Indy. This is a guy that's on the road in a hostile environment, and you know what you're going to get from him. Even when he's got an injury in his throwing, like that is, he deserves the Dr. Pepper commercials that he's already in. He deserves every penny of that because he is absolutely spectacular, which I think gives more credit to Tennessee. Now, real quick, if A&M ends up converting on the last play last week, that's when you could say, well, they didn't have Bryce Young and this and that. And so this game, you can't say that. You have to give all the credit to Tennessee because you saw the best in Bryce Young.
Because Bryce Young played winning football, even in a loss. That's an anomaly sometimes, but you could still play winning football and it doesn't come up for you. And tonight reminded me of last year when they played Auburn and he had the 290-plus yard drives where you have to have it. Auburn only gave him 60, 70 yards rushing as a team all day. We must get through Auburn to get a chance at Georgia, and he does it in the fourth quarter. I think he's college football's best general, but they have a lot to clean up, though. 17 penalties. The defense really got exposed, and I'm watching that game and thinking in my mind, is this Ohio State and Bama? Is this what this looks like? Because to me, Tennessee offensively, it looks like the similar animal to Ohio State. The one's a Bengal tiger and one's a Siberian tiger. Like now we have two tigers. They can both move and maul you.
We're dropping our merch.
We got to start calling Underwood Daddy Brad.
But I'm a big pod guy.
Breaking news. The Field of 68 has an online store, and it's your one-stop shop for the latest and greatest merch in college basketball and college football. You can find shirts to support your favorite team, make fun of your rival team, or boast Field of 68 catchphrases like Daddy Brad, Cussin' and Discussin', and the Star Heels. Go to www.fieldof68.shop today and enter promo code TOUCHDOWN for 20% off at checkout.